Nebrasketball has done it. They are 7-0 for the first time in my entire lifetime. I'm 27 years old. They defeat Cal State Fullerton at home 85 to 72 to finish up the first part of their season 7-0, heading into Creighton and a couple more difficult games next week. I thought overall, obviously the final score they won by 13, which is great. They only won the second half by 2 because of some very sloppy play down the stretch about the final 10 minutes or so. But overall, we got a lot of really good production from a lot of different guys. I have the box score pulled up, and obviously ring maskless, you could call him. Really showing what he can do when he's not wearing a mask and a little bit hobbled from that nose injury. He went 8 for 12, 19 and 9, impacted shots at the rim. He played a fantastic game. 3 of 3 from 3. Tominaga, obviously, 17 points. Flawless from the field. Flawless from the free throw line. I thought Bryce Williams played a really good game offensively and defensively. He had 14 points. He only had 3 in the second half, which was tough, but he started off the game strong with those couple of and ones. And they also switched him on to Jones, who ended up with 30 points. I mean, he was incredible. That guy played a really really good game. Overall impressions. Let me see if I can get the team stats. I thought just looking at it, we definitely did not rebound to the standard that we've established through the first 6 games. I think in part of that is due to Cal State has a really solid rebounding team. It seemed like all the guys on the team had a good nose for the ball. They were in the right spot a lot of times. But I thought in general our box outs just were not that good, even from Rink. So I know Fred's going to be addressing that. I'm sure he's going to address it in the post game. But we ended up shooting 40% from three, 46% from the field, 95% from the free throw line. That's back-to-back games we've shot 90% or better. Honest, at least 20 free throws because last game was 31. This game was 19 for 20. That is absolutely the improvement you want to see when we were one of the worst free throw shooting teams last year. We had 18 assists to 9 turnovers, so a 2-to-1 ratio for the team. Tough to follow up that 2 turnover performance last game, but there were definitely times we were sloppy with the ball. Some of them were even just giveaways at times. I know Boogie just dribbled directly into a guy at times, and we had a couple tough charge calls as well. But overall, we did actually take care of the ball pretty well. We only had 3 steals. I like to see that number up. But we had 3 blocks. I know at least 2 of them were Bryce Williams, which uh, just is another testament to the defensive effort that he brings to this team. I think him and Rink are for sure our 2 best two-way players, and they're, I mean, honestly, potentially our 2 best players. I mean, obviously, it's tough not to throw Casey in there, but through these first 7 games, and obviously he's also been hobbled by the ankle, but um, man, I mean, those guys really hold it down with rebounding, with scoring, and consistency too. I mean, there's no reason both those guys aren't going to be scoring double digits every single game. They're definitely going to be combining for a good amount of rebounds every game. Let's see, Bryce only ended up with 2 rebounds this game, but and then as a team, overall rebounding was tied 35-35. They had more offensive rebounds than us by 4. So yeah, that's definitely an area that has been a big point of emphasis for Nebrasketball over the past few years, and I know Fred's going to be addressing that. And but that being said, I do think this team is a good rebounding team. I don't think it's going to be close to what we're going to be seeing in the Big Ten, and even in the Creighton game next week. So definitely have to see that improved. But other than the rebounding and at times the defense, I thought our rim protection was not that great when Josiah's not out there. I think Rink, he's definitely solid as far as rim protection goes, but he kind of understands his role, which is that he can't be in foul trouble for one, but also he just doesn't have the jumping ability, it seems like, to really go up and contest shots. So you definitely saw guys attacking him in the second half and them getting layups off of that, which can definitely still happen with Josiah, but Josiah contests the crap out of shots. I mean, he is definitely our best weak side help defender at the rim. So it will be interesting going forward, kind of seeing how Hoiberg chooses to stagger their minutes. Because he was, it kind of seems like he will always have one of those two guys in, which is great. If you have Rinkin, you're getting a ton of offensive production and rebounding production, box outs, good passing too. I thought he had some really. I love when they go for the dribble handoff with him and then they curl around the screen. He's so good at finding guys and getting the right angles for those passes. You saw it in the first half for the and one to Bryce Williams early on, and several other times throughout, and definitely throughout the season thus far. So that definitely has potential to be be a strength of ours. And then when you have Josiah and obviously you have the hustle, the rebounding, he's definitely still a little bit raw. And I feel like there were a few times this game even where I'd like to see him go up strong. It seems like at times he can be a little bit too unselfish when, with the jumping ability and the athleticism that he has. If he just goes up strong, he's going to at least get 2 shots, if not a highlight reel dunk. And he has shown that he's a good free throw shooter. I think this game again, he shot pretty good from the line. I'm trying to remember if I saw him miss or not. I don't think I did. Of course, this doesn't show his free throw stats, but yeah, he's going to be a big piece for us going forward. And then off the bench, I thought CJ had another really good game. He also has a knack for being in the right spots. I feel like I see him. He's got his stat for having offensive rebounds off of air balls is I've seen him get a good number of those so far this year. So that's good to see. I love what I'm seeing from pretty much everyone that plays. The only person who I wasn't super impressed with was Jerron. Boogie Coleman, I kind of touched. He had a couple turnovers that were pretty bad, honestly. And, when we only have 9 and you can directly attribute 2 of them to one guy, that's a little bit tough. So I'd love to see him get going, but I also know that he was obviously a late addition to the team after the unfortunate scandal that broke out about Aaron Eulis. So unfortunately for me, he doesn't seem to bring much to the table scoring wise, creating his own shot wise. So a big thing for him is taking care of the ball. So to see him not do that very effectively against the team of Cal State Fullerton's personnel was a little bit disappointing, but hopefully we can see him continue to get going as the season goes on. And I think Jamarcus is the last guy I haven't talked about. I thought he once again played a really good game. He had 6 assists and 11 points. That's what you really want to see from Jamarcus. I thought he took care of the ball well. I thought he made good decisions. Even just last year, he has so much speed, and when he pushes the ball up the court last year, at times he would get tunnel vision, and it would lead him to a turnover. And there were a few times this game where he had that same type of momentum going towards the basket on a break type situation. And he made the smart play. He saw that, there weren't numbers. He stopped his speed, pulled it back out, and initiated the offense. And so yeah, Jamarcus is another player I'm really high on, and I think he's only going to continue to get better game in and game out. So yeah, the biggest takeaways from this game were our offense is looking great. I mean, we have so many guys who can create their own shot, and they don't even need to with the way this team plays together and always gets into their offense and is so unselfish. And I really like what I see on the offensive side of the ball. Unfortunately, yeah, rebounding and defense were not where we need them to be now, especially with Hoiberg, really touching on how defense has to be our consistency. Luckily, we got bailed out by it this game because our offense was clicking so hard. But if our offense hadn't been as good this game, it could have been a very different outcome with the way we defended and the way that we rebounded and boxed out. Specifically, defense went wrong. I thought we rotated pretty well throughout the game, and there were a couple times where CJ and Josiah got switched and struggled to get back to their man, but really I think we just struggled staying in front of people, and then we struggled with help at times is what it came down to. They also made a bunch of shots. Give them credit where it's due. That we definitely had very good defense on a lot of their makes, but we've got to see that be better moving forward. If we put forth it's also tough because defense and rebounding are very effort based, and unfortunately, it seemed as if it was an effort thing tonight. So I don't know what that is. Maybe after the Thanksgiving break, I don't know what type of break they get for Thanksgiving, but maybe that had some impact on it. But we definitely cannot have that level of effort against Creighton next week, which I don't think we will. I don't think any of the guys are going to be struggling for effort against an in-state rivalry like we have with Creighton. So I do expect both those departments to be better next week. So just hopefully we can keep the offense rolling and move to 8-0. But yeah, I was saying it before the season started. Now that we're 7 games in, this is easily. I don't know. Well, I don't want to say easily, and I don't want to get too ahead of myself. But at the same time, I do feel like this is the best Nebraska team I've ever seen in my lifetime. And obviously, the direct comparison is 2014 when we made the tournament, and that team was great too with Tim Miles and Turan Petaway. But the depth that this team has and the understanding of the depth that they have and that being exhibited in their play style and the way that they play, and we're kind of finally seeing what the Hoiberg vision. This is his 5th season. Every season before this, in a sense, can almost have an asterisk on it. The first season, none of the players are him. Second season, COVID. Third and fourth seasons, injuries, and still had success last season despite those injuries. So this is really our first true Hoiberg experience. And, coming in, he was very honest about the style of basketball that he wants to play, which is he wants to push the tempo, he wants to shoot the three, and he wants to defend really well. And he has gotten the personnel to fill those roles very well, I feel like. I mean, almost essentially every player on the team can shoot. Every player is very athletic and is pushing the pace, and the ones that aren't are providing, Rink comes to mind first of all, but even he's running the floor every time down, and obviously with what he brings offensively, rebounding, passing, he definitely gets a pass in that department. So it is really cool to see that not only has Fred brought in the players that fulfill the type of basketball that he wants to play. He's not asking guys to do anything outside of their comfort zone. It really seems like everyone is completely bought in. And I've said this from day one as well. Like it's hard not to be when you have a guy like Fred who understands the game to the level that he does. Few people can have the resume that he has with 10 years playing in the NBA, coaching in the NBA, coaching in college, and now coaching in college again for us. I mean, he really knows his stuff, and it's really encouraging and awesome to see what I feel like I've had faith in a while finally coming to fruition with this team. And Bryce, the transfers that we got in Rink and Bryce are just unbelievable. I think both those guys are going to be, maybe the 2 biggest pieces for us this season. And barring any injuries, I don't see any reason why Nebraska can't have a 20-win regular season, if not more. We haven't really seen them battle too much adversity after halftime, I guess. We've definitely had some shaky first halves, but we haven't really seen, how they respond when every possession is critical. Like down the stretch of games. So maybe we'll get that next week at Creighton. I know they also did just get blown out by Colorado State, so we'll see. I do also think CSU is a good team this year, but yeah, I'm really excited to see the rest of the season play out. Definitely for the Creighton game next week, that's going to be electric. And yeah, I love where this team's at. I think the lack of effort was just anomaly tonight, and I expect them to come out hard next week. So yeah, I'll see you guys then. Thanks for tuning in, and subscribe if you haven't already.